Now, we've got plenty more serious issues to discuss, but let's just have a little bit of fun here. And we've got more proof here that Donald Trump is the funniest president we've ever had, ever. Watch him here as the Irish Prime Minister Martin, is asked about Rosie O'Donnell moving to Ireland. She has fled America, another win for the Trump administration. Watch this exchange.
Ireland is known for very happy, fun-loving people, great attitude, many in this room right now that I've met. Why in the world would you let Rosie O'Donnell move to Ireland? I think she's going to lower your happiness level.
That's true. Thank you. I like that question.
Mr. Prime Minister, are you expecting?
Do you know who she is?
Yeah.
I'm joking.
You better off not knowing.
President Trump, I'm joking.
I just love this entire story, the way the clash started years ago. I remember Donald Trump being questioned about his comments about Rosie O'Donnell when he was running in 2016, and now it ends with her fleeing the country and the president making jokes about it in the Oval Office.
It was such a great Trump moment because, you know, when he first understood what the question was, there was a moment where he was like, quite right. And then he was like, great question. I love that question. You know, there was a moment where he was pretending to take it totally seriously. He has an amazing sense of humor. And, you know, I really do think that even a lot of people who didn't vote for him are finally coming around and admitting this guy is hilarious. He knows how to work a room. His comedic timing is impeccable. And it is so great. I mean, this is how you win a feud, right? You make the other person leave the greatest country on earth.
Well, you know what? You've got to give her some props because at least she followed through with what she said she was going to do. We've had so many of these celebrities and activists who have threatened to leave as if anyone would give a damn. But they don't. She actually followed through. So I think, you know, it's a win-win for the country and perhaps for Rosie as well. Maybe she'll be happier in Ireland. I don't know. I think once she discovers what a socially conservative country it is, that abortion is only available on demand in the first trimester, even stricter than Mississippi, Batya. So once she learns some of those things, she might start becoming an activist in Ireland. Now, this story is disturbing. This is from Politico. They are reporting that a senior official at USAID instructed the agency's staff to convene at the former headquarters for an all-day group effort to destroy documents. An email sent to USAID's acting Executive Director, Eric Carr, it says, shred as many documents first and reserve the burn bags for when the shredder becomes unavailable or needs a break. What is going on, and is Pam Bondi doing anything about this?
It's so amazing. I mean, it really makes you wonder what were they up to there in addition to the waste, fraud, and abuse that's been uncovered by Elon Musk. You know, it's great because at this point, Secretary of State Marco Rubio has now taken control of USAID. He's gone through all of the programs. They axed many of them, and then they kept the ones that they felt reflected our values globally. And I think that was really the right approach. There's no greater patriot than Marco Rubio. He knows exactly what he's doing, but he also brings a real maturity to the role. And so I'm sure he will get to the bottom of whatever nonsense and nefariousness is happening there.
Now, just quickly on the Canadians, they seem to have delusions of grandeur. They've tariffs on American products, but they feel it's almost an act of war if their products are similarly tariffed. What's the latest on this stoush?
So President Trump has been using tariffs in three very important ways. He's been using them in order to achieve other goals, like, for example, limiting the number of illegal immigrants crossing from Mexico or the amount of fentanyl that's entering the country and is so deadly to so many Americans. That's the first goal. The second goal is to generate revenue. He wants to make money from these tariffs. And the third is President Trump absolutely loathes when the United States is treated like a patsy. And that is basically what we have in our trade relations with many, many countries whose tariffs on us are so much higher than our tariffs on them. It's not fair. There's a fundamental feeling of this is unfair. If we are importing huge amounts of steel and aluminum from Canada and they're putting tariffs on our steel and aluminum going into Canada, that's not fair. And so I think what President Trump wants is to use tariffs in all of these ways to have a more equitable relationship, trade relationship that prioritizes Americans. I'll just make one more quick point on this. You know, for a generation, we have seen the downward mobility of America's working class as we shifted from an economy based in manufacturing to an economy whose largest share is in finance, meaning that people who own a lot of assets are very wealthy and working class people are poor. That is unacceptable. And President Trump is saying, this will not stand. I want a strong manufacturing base because I want the hardest working Americans to have a fair shot at the American dream. And what we're seeing in the stock market is Wall Street absolutely losing it, that for the first time in 60 years, the president is not on his knees servicing them, but wants labor to have a fair shot. This is an absolutely revolutionary president. And of course, the elites are going crazy. Wall Street is losing it this time, Rita, and they need to hold the line and stop undermining our president.
Well, I think, Wall Street knew this was coming. Because everything he is doing, he said he was going to do throughout the election campaign and before. So there are no surprises here. I think the only surprise is that he's actually following through with those promises because, as we know with politicians, sometimes they can promise the world and not deliver. But thus far, whatever you think of Donald Trump, he has been implementing what he said he'll do. And we're going to see the results. Batya, you personally caused a bit of a stir online in recent days, coming out very strongly against Andrew and Tristan Tate, who are huge online figures and seen as centre-right conservative influences these days. They're certainly outspoken on a range of political, social issues. Tell me why you say Andrew Tate and his brother should be disowned by conservatives. Shouldn't the centre-right be a broad church?
It absolutely should be. It should be broad enough to include beautiful, loving, same-sex couples who are raising children in a loving, religious, or just middle-class home with two parents. Sure, we should have a broad tent. Andrew Tate, though, as far as I can tell, agrees with the left. He thinks that what it means to be a man is to beat up women. I mean, that's the left's position, right? Is that masculinity itself is a crime. Masculinity itself is violence, right? That's what the left thinks, and that's what he thinks. He says he's a real man, and he thinks that somehow it's not masculine to protect women, support women, have a family, raise children. I mean, what it means to be a man is to protect and defend. That's what the testosterone is for. And this is a man who uses his testosterone to beat up the vulnerable and then brag about it. It's utterly disgusting. And I think it is so cool that so many conservatives have done what the left would never do to one of their own. And they have simply said, this is not part of our movement. This goes too far. This is exactly where the red line is, and we don't want you.
Well, Batya, Ron DeSantis, the Florida governor, is certainly on your side. He has said the Tate brothers are not welcome in Florida. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you so much, Rita. God bless you.